First, I'd like to call up Florida Senator for District 30, Bobby Powell, or if Bobby Powell has a representative here. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. This is yours.
Oh man, thank you.
You're welcome. And this is yours.
Shovel for groundbreaking. Good morning, everybody. It's indeed a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm thankful to be able to work with you all to make sure this development goes through. Representing District 30, which is in Palm Beach and all the parts of Palm Beach County, of course, the northern parts of Palm Beach County. It's good to see so many of the people, Councilwoman Lynn Hubbard and others who have been so valiant in this fight, especially when we talk about housing and community development here in Palm Beach County. Affordable Commissioner Terrence Davis, Housing Authority board members. I will say that $340,000 for the average home price in Palm Beach County, that is not nearly affordable at all. Most people can't afford that. I can't afford that. So to be able to work for and work toward developments where people can have the opportunity to live, I'm all for that, and I'll continue to work in that direction. Thankful for everybody who's been committed to this fight. I saw Mr. Ron Davis here earlier. Ron Davis was one of the people who called me when I was in Tallahassee before this development was in place. Everyone who's continuing to fight, city manager, thank y'all. And if you need me, I'm here. We'll GTJD, get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I can't forget, when you need something done in my office, don't forget that Marion Dozier, while she's here, if I leave, make sure she gives you a card and you can follow up with her. Thank you.
You know, it occurs to me that it's people like Senator Powell who help make this a reality. We have to support politicians who understand and get it. 300,000 something is not affordable. We need more affordable housing. Every time we bring on a new development, there's a triple-digit waiting list. It's a supply and a demand problem, and until we support elected officials who get it, we're going to have this problem. It's time to fix it. Everyone has to understand that. We get a chance to vote. Make sure you take advantage of that. Next, I'd like to call up Florida Representative for District 88, Al Jaquette. If Al's here, Al could come up and speak, please. If not, does Al have a representative here? And if not, I'm going to make something up. Well, we just want to thank Representative for District 88, Al Jaquette, for his support for this important development for Palm Beach County. Next, I'd like to call up the board of the Housing Authority. So if Delvin Thomas could please come up and give some remarks, that would be great. Let's take a picture. There you go. Thank you. This is yours.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? God is good. God is good. As most of you know, this has been a long journey. I'm sitting here looking at some of my old board members and new board members, and I call it the midnight team and the 9 o'clock team. So I'm going to start by calling on the midnight team. Former board member Artist Cobb, he's not here today, I believe. I think he had a medical emergency. Rodney Roberts, he's not here. Former chair J. Jerome Taylor. Please stand when I call your name, please. J. Jerome Taylor. Stay standing, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor was the one that, you know, kind of recruited me to come to this board, and I thought about it, and I was, you know, he said, son, you can do it. And when he left, I was like, you leaving? He was like, I got to go, but you can do it. So I thank him for his support, and he always called and checked up on me and see how things are going. So I appreciate you for that. Please stay standing, though, because you're a part of the midnight team. Ronald Leonard passed away with his tenure here, and again with Emma Bates. Both of those people were here when I started, and both of them have passed on. But that was the midnight team. And that was the midnight team because we was in here till midnight, literally arguing and trying to figure out how we're going to get things done. So now I'm going to call on my 9 o'clock team because now we get out of meetings on time. My Vice Chair Jackson. Commissioner Horace Towns. Commissioner Jessica Thurman. And I'm going to call on my board attorney, Mr. Matthew Russell. Another voice of reason. And when you sit here and look at the dynamics, this is the wisdom that we keep around us. And when you have this wisdom around, you're able to get things done. So thank you all. Remain standing for a minute. And lo and behold, my right hand, that always said a right hand in the meeting, and I always say, good to see you, young man. Now she's sitting on the city council, Commissioner Lynn Hubbard. Commissioner Hubbard, would you come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Delvin. I am truly honored to be here today. Indeed, this was a long time coming. We worked hard, we talked hard, we debated hard. We wanted affordable housing in Riviera Beach. We wanted local participation in this project, and I was glad that we were able to struggle and make sure that we got that. My background is housing authorities, first-time home ownership, self-sufficiency, and community self-sufficiency programs that allow people to buy homes, start businesses, and possibly go back to school. Affordable housing is one of the resources that create wealth, and as long as we continue to offer those opportunities, we'll build better and stronger communities. Congratulations to the 9 o'clock team, Mr. Hurt, Bobby, our political representatives that helped to bring this to fruition, HTG, Gulf Construction, all of you, Mr. Malachi Knows, all of you who had a part of this, I want to say thank you, congratulations, and we are so glad to have this project here in the city of Riviera Beach.
Thank you, Ms. Hubbard. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
And, uh-oh. And real quick, you guys can have a seat. I'd like to thank the families of all of our commissioners, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for the long nights with them coming home late, with them having impromptu meetings, with them having to skip dinner, things like that. We definitely want to thank all the spouses and family members, even the children. Let them know that we appreciate them and thank them. You know what? I forgot Rance Gady. Rance Gady's not here? Okay. All right. So thank you. And I definitely want to thank... Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Danny Jones. I'm sorry. I forgot about Danny Jones. I didn't even see you back there, Mr. Jones. How you doing, sir? And we thank you for all your help with this process as well. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite up Councilman Bartell to say a few words. I know you weren't expecting it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's Botel. And I just want to say thank you to Councilwoman Hubbard and Councilman Davis. It's clear that they've done an awful lot of really good work in this community, and they should be commended for the work that they've done. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm 1 month on the job, and I'm learning an awful lot about this community and the needs of the community, and I hope to be a part of making good progress like we're seeing here today. Thank you very much.
Sorry for the name flub. They do it with my name all the time. In month 2 on the job, I promise I'll get it right. I'd now like to call up one of the real champions of this development, and that's Councilman T.D. Davis.
Thank you. I'd just like to say Riviera Beach is home to me. It will always be home. As someone who came back to give back, I take great pride and joy of working with people like Delvin Thomas, Jackson. I want to say thank you specifically. You guys gave me an opportunity to go down to Miami a few years ago to see the work that HTG did down in Overtown. And I want to personally say thank you to you, because without going on that trip, I would understand the magnitude of the great work that that organization was doing down for those communities to come up in Riviera Beach. So I want to say thank you. Just like stated before, yes, I'm Councilman Terrence Davis. In 1966, there was a discussion, President Johnson talking about what? Affordable Housing Act. That law wasn't passed until 1968. But one of the conversations that went along with the Affordable Housing Act was the job creation, along with the ownership. We will build this project locally. We will live in this project locally, and we will celebrate this project locally. We will work together as a community, as a team of leadership. I want to say thank you to all the Housing Authority members, starting Mr. Towns, the lovely young lady, what's her name again? Ms. Thurman, Commissioner Thurman, Mr. Russell, all my colleagues, Mr. Knowles, Ms. Ruth Jones, who's not here today, Mr. Danny Jones, thank you for your leadership, for your time that you committed to Riviera Beach. Thank you to J. Jerome Taylor, Mr. Ron Davis, the ATG staff, Gulf Construction staff, Mr. Newbold, Mr. Randolph, all those, and Amir's here as well, and Mr. Hurt. It takes a commitment to be successful, right? You go through those long meetings and long nights to get something specifically off the ground. This project started in 1976 and finished in 2005. But now we're here for a new, fresh start, and we're here to celebrate that. I want to say thank you all for coming out today as we celebrate over $22 million economic development in our great community. Thank you again.
Thank you again. It is now my great honor to invite Mayor Masters up to say a few words.
I'm glad to be here. I just want to second everything that the former chair said, Terrence Davis, $22 million investment in our city. I don't have a lot to add. I should be in the bed right now, but I pressed to get here. So let's just put the shovel in the ground and get ready to serve our people, our residents of Riviera Beach. Thank you.
Speaking of shovels, we've got a little shovel for you right there, so let's take a... Thank you. Appreciate it. I'd like to now invite up Commissioner... Hello? I'd like to now invite up Tanya Davis Johnson's staff to say a few words on behalf of District 3.
Good morning. My name is Pascal Reed, and I'm the District 3 Legislative Aide. I'm just going to read some remarks from the chairwoman. Good morning, Mayor, Chair Pro Tem Hubbard, esteemed guests and friends. It's a great day in the city of Riviera Beach, and it is a great day for the citizens as well. Please accept my sincere apology for not being able to join you in person, but I want you to know that I am in full support of this effort and the opportunities it will present. I am excited about today's groundbreaking for the Heron Estates project. I would like to thank Mr. Hurt and the members of the Housing Authority Board for their commitment and dedication to providing housing on this site, in this city, and especially here in District 3. This is the first step, and I can't wait to cut the ribbon and welcome our first residents once construction is completed. Best wishes for a successful groundbreaking, and enjoy your day. Yours in service, Chairwoman Tanya Davis Johnson.
Sure.
I just got to make a correction. One person was left out that we can't forget about. Our CEO of our institution, Riviera Beach, Ms. Karen Hoskins, our current city manager. Let's make sure she's the leader of this ship. And I want to make sure that it goes noticed. And we are very grateful, Ms. Hoskins, for the job that you're doing as you're stepping in and becoming a leader that this community has invested in for so long. Thank you again. And Congressman Alcee Hastings, Dan Limpton, I know I saw him earlier. Congressman Hastings, Dan Limpton.
I'd like to next invite up Dan Romulus from Mac Bernard's office to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Darren Romulus, Legislative Aide for Mac Bernard. Vice Mayor Bernard is currently actually in a BCC board meeting right now and is anxious to be here along with you. One of the things that his priority is creating a housing czar, being able to serve the residents in Riviera Beach and throughout the county in District 7. It's phenomenal to see how everybody has come together through the legislative, Senator Bobby Powell, the commission, the housing board as well, and being able to be on the legislative end at the county is where we can be able to create policy changes, opportunities. And when we have opportunities to be able to see housing development, something tangible for our residents, it's even more phenomenal because this gives them equal chance to have a home of their own instead of moving around, and also being able to create wealth like Commissioner Hubbard said, Councilwoman Hubbard. We thank you very much from Vice Mayor Mac Bernard's office for coming out and participating, and we look forward to the ribbon cutting at the very end. Have a great day.
Next, I'd like to invite up Harold Rodriguez from HUD Public Housing. He's the general engineer.
Morning. So my name is Harold Rodriguez. I'm the general engineer for the Miami Field Office for HUD. So what does a general engineer do? Well, one of the things I do is perform physical inspections of federally assisted properties to ensure that those of us who have the greatest challenges, those of us who have the greatest to overcome, actually have a chance to live in a healthy and safe environment. And so when I was asked today if I would like to attend this groundbreaking, and I thought about it for a bit, and I thought back to an experience I had years ago where I inspected a unit or an apartment of this young mother, and I went into her son's bedroom. Her son couldn't have been more than 2 years old, and I saw all of his shirts lined up one after another, all these little shirts belonging to this little man. And it really hit home at that moment as to why exactly it is that we do this. And again, it's to give folks a chance. Folks like that young mother, that young boy, and seniors that are going to be living here in the Heron Estates. And so as we gather around here today, we can see this joint effort to give folks a chance actually coming to fruition. The Heron Estates development will serve our seniors and families to help give folks a chance. So I didn't want to take too much of your time today, but I do want to say that on behalf of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, it's our pleasure to have played a role in this joint effort along with the county, the state, and the developer in helping to give folks a chance to live in a happy and safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Next, we have a special guest. It's an Ivy Green former resident. That's the site that we are on now. If Margaret Shepard could please come up and say a few words.
Good morning. As I reflect, this was the most horrible place you ever want to live. We were deemed the worst housing authority in the state of Florida. When I came here, my cousin Clara King Williams, she was the mayor, and I was sick, deemed disabled, unable to work. But it wasn't bad when I moved. It was very nice. But over the years, it became very worn, decrepit. They would break into the building. The thugs would hold us hostage at night. The rats, the roaches, the bugs, garbage. It plagued us. But it was one woman that saw me at City Hall, and that was Mary Brown. And Mary Brown said, "You can do this." I said, "No, Mary, I can't. 51 of us." I said, "Maybe somebody else." She said, "No, you can do this." And I got the power to go to City Hall. And if you can't beat City Hall, it's not true. I went to Washington, D.C. I went to the Georgia office, and they came here and they talked. And when the housing market was up, so we thought, it was Miss Jenkins that came over and tore down the building that was there. They burned it up. But then the housing market crashed. That went away. Held us hostage for another 3 years. And then on an incredible day, the mayor was here. Helicopters was everywhere. And they said, "We are here, Ms. Shepherd, to take over the Riviera Beach Housing Authority." We thought it was a great day, but it wasn't. We was here another 2 years. But on that fatal day, when I called Washington, D.C., I said, "You need to come and see how we're living." And when they came in, right in that back, they could not believe what they saw. Within a few months, the ladies that was in the townhouses, when the storm came, they gave them money and they left right away. We were still here another year, year and a half, and the incredible day came where they knew that it was time for us to go. It was a horrible day. But first of all, I thank God. I thank this city. I thank HUD. But most of all, I thank Mr. Hurt when he first come here. Mr. Taylor was here first. Let me go back. And then Mr. Hurt. And what an incredible job. But these people, what an incredible job you are. Mr. Thomas, Mr. Jeffrey Jackson, Ms. Hubbard was here. And to all that's at the Housing Authority right now, it's an incredible day. And I want you all to know it was a frightening experience. But on this day, this is what the Lord has made. For us, it was 51 senior citizens. It's only 7 of us left. 7 of us left to come back to the Housing Authority. So I want to thank this incredible crew. Thank all of you all for coming, because every now and then I get flashbacks. But the one thing I know, God is so good. But I had somebody when they came in, when the newspapers was coming, the televisions was coming, and they were kind of throwing me around and scaring me. I never forget, and I'm going to make you laugh. I sat in the room. I don't know why I said it. I said, "If you keep bothering me, I'm going to call Malachi Knowles." Everybody in the building looked around. They said, "You know Malachi Knowles?" I said, "Yes, he's from Washington." They said, "Oh, yes, Mr. Shepherd, we got to get you up out of here." So I thank God for Malachi Knowles. Every time they were throwing me around, I said, "Keep calling them, call Malachi." So I thank you all for hearing that incredible story. I hope it will endeavor that you all do something, not only for the Riviera Beach Housing Authority, the Heron Estates, but for Stony Brook. Once again, thank you, Mr. Hurt. Thank all of you for the incredible job you have done. I would have missed those meetings for nothing in the world. All the fights, all the arguments, but look what you have done. Thank you.
Wow. That's why we do this. Make a difference. And now the person most instrumental in getting us here today. it is with great honor that I invite up Executive Director John Hurt to both give acknowledgments and recognitions and project remarks.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate those remarks. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's, if I look tired, it's only because it's been a long trip. But we're here, and that's a good thing. Glory be to God, you know, that we're here and that we're going to move forward and do what we're here to do, and that's to provide affordable housing. I just want to acknowledge many of the people who contribute and participated in us getting this far, and that's everybody that's under this tent. Everybody here today played a role, contributed in some way, helped us along, because it's a journey that we couldn't have done alone. So let me just try to recognize a few people, and if I miss someone, I beg your forgiveness. From the County Department of Economic Sustainability, we have Carlos Serrano. Carlos has helped us since day one we've been here. He and his department was instrumental in the 4 houses that we currently own, our NSP properties. He was instrumental in the Housing Authority getting the grant and just at least providing those 4 houses for families here in the Riviera Beach. I'd like to recognize Mr. Malachi Knowles and Miss Anita Jenkins from the CRA and the CDC. They've been our partners. Anita's helped me. She's been someone I could call on and help through this process. So she was very instrumental in this. I'd like to recognize Lynn Leakey from Land Development and her team. They are our site architects. She's been here very much from the beginning. They've helped design and did the layout on this project and helped us along. And it's been like 5 years since she's been with us through a lot of partnerships moving forward. We previously recognized our attorney, Matthew Russell. Mr. Russell is our board attorney, and he has really brought stability to our board. He often says that our board meetings today are an example of how a good nonprofit board meeting should operate, with some decorum and some process, and he keeps us in the Robert's Rules of Order. I personally want to thank acting city manager. She's been certainly a support for us since she's got in office. I've had to write her and beg her to help us along, and she's always responded. So thank you. I want to recognize our attorneys. Okay, we have Josette Chacon here from Saxon and Gilmore. Saxon and Gilmore are our development attorneys, and Josette, talking about someone keeping you in check. She has kept our housing authority, me personally, in check through this whole process. We have our architect here, David Lawrence, and his team. David has been here very early on in the process. He's the one that designed this building. There's a couple renderings inside. I hope that you have the opportunity to go in and, take a look at some of those. Okay. I know I don't really have to give HTG a lot of glory, but I have to point out there in the back trying to hide is Brian Finney. Brian Finney has been the man. Ron Frenney brought HTG to us. And he's been here from the beginning. And without him and HTG, we certainly wouldn't have made it this far. Going forward, we're going to have a lot of new partners. Mr. Randolph and Mr. Newbold as part of the golf team. And I'm sure they need no introduction because I'm sure everyone locally know these gentlemen, and it's good that we have that kind of local participation. We promised this community that all along that we would have local participation. Councilwoman Hubbard has ensured that we would have participation, and we made every effort, made our best effort to ensure that we have local participation to this point and continuing on. So that's basic tenement for us moving forward. I'd just like to also just thank, and it may have been mentioned earlier, about all of our spouses and families, particularly of this board, for the long hours that we put in. I wanted to have the opportunity to thank my wife, but she didn't get home until 1:30 this morning from out of town, and she couldn't make it. I have to mention her because for 7 years, I've been in this role, and she supported me all the way. But I do have my son here. He's standing in the back, the one tall guy with the smile. That's Khalid. Okay, he's representing the fam. So, and generally, I want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. This is the story I tell when I came here was that, and maybe J. Jerome Taylor and I know Commissioner Thomas, one of my first meetings I was a little naive about developing housing in Florida. I told my board then that as I see it, we're going to pull together a development team, and we should be breaking ground in about 18 months. That was 7 years ago. And as I went through the process, I talked to my other housing authority directors here in Palm Beach County, because we have 7 housing authorities in Palm Beach County. And when we meet, I was just crying about how long it takes. And my colleague from Delray Beach, she said, "Shucks, John, it took me 10 years to get our first building up." And I said, okay, but today I can stand here and say it only took me 7. So I beat that record, and as thanks to the people here today. So those of you that I may have forgot, as I said, I apologize. I thank J. Jerome Taylor because he was part of the team that had the tenacity to give me the opportunity to come here. As my first chairman of the board, I thank you for your knowledge and your push, sir. And finally, I just thank my board. I'm a fortunate executive director to have the board that I have. I have a committed board, I have a knowledgeable board, and I have a board who wants to do the right thing. And so, as a staff person, and any staff people know who report to a board, that's the best thing in the world that you can wish for. So I thank my board with all my heart, and let's keep on keeping on. As it was said earlier, this project, Ivy Green Village, was built in 76. Okay, it served the citizens here in Riviera Beach for quite a long time until it was damaged by the hurricanes. HUD came in and tore the family units down because of the damage, and ultimately tore the senior building down. And with that was really the end of public housing on this site. We're going forward. We're building an affordable community that's going to serve a varied levels of incomes of families here. We're going to make it affordable for the families and the seniors in Riviera Beach. We're here breaking ground on phase 1, but we're looking forward to the second phase of workforce housing for families. And so that's our next challenge going forward. And so with the help of everybody here who's helped us this far, we ain't done yet. We're going to continue to lean on you and beg you and ask your assistance as we move forward. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and let's turn some dirt.
Let's take a picture together. Thank you, Executive Director. You know, it's impossible to thank everyone who deserves thanks and has earned thanks for us getting here today. So if you weren't mentioned, accept my apologies for being an imperfect human being, but thank you. A few last people to thank, and then we are going to turn some dirt. And my promise to you, Executive Director, is Phase 2 will take less than 7 years. So I know that that Josette, the Housing Authority's attorney, was already thanked, but you know, from me personally and from the HDG team, thank you so much for all your hard work and your cooperation in us getting here today. Thank you. I also want to thank the attorneys for the entire project, the law firm of Stearns Weaver. This is the fourth deal we've closed this year, but certainly the most challenging, and always the most challenging part of putting together the financing for affordable housing, particularly when it's a public-private partnership like this, is the money. And we absolutely positively need to thank Tammy Haylock-Moore with Chase Bank and Mike Boyle with CREA. And I'd like them to come up for just a second so you guys can see them and recognize them. Mike is really the magician here. He got us pricing from 2016 before the Trump election, and he figured out a way, this is why he's a magician, he figured out a way to convince the investor to hold that pricing through the downturn and through the tax credit crisis. I don't know how you did it. I'm not going to ask you to do a magic trick for us because you've already performed the greatest magic trick of all. So please, a round of applause for this group right here. It takes money to build affordable housing. These are the money people.
With my greatest apologies, I missed one very important person who's been here since the beginning, and that's Mr. Ron Davis. Can we give Ron Davis a hand? He's a former city manager here. He's been here day one, and my apologies, Ron. You know I love you, so I just wanted to get that in. Thank you.
Well, guess what? Next on my list was Ron Davis. So how about a second round of applause for Ron Davis? Thank you, Ron, truly. Another great partnership between our company and yours. Your guidance and heart is invaluable. I'd also like to thank the Gulf Building team, John, Rick, Eric, Jordana, and the rest of the Gulf Building team. Thank you so much. Eyes are on you guys from this point forward. I'd also like to thank Jeff Gagnon. He's the acting planning director. David Lawrence was already thanked, but again, thank you, David, for your beautiful design and efficient building for the long term. And finally, and sometimes I forget, and I'm glad I didn't this time, I want to thank the fabulous Greta for putting on this fantastic groundbreaking ceremony. So please, a round of applause for Greta. I think I'm 1 for 4 this year in thanking her, and she does a great job every time. And also the rest of the HCG crew, most especially Brian Finney. Brian, I know you were thanked before, but again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is your baby. We wouldn't be here without you. Jason Larson, please take at least stand up. Round of applause for Jason Larson. Bert DeValier, Bert, if you could stand up so everyone can see. Yeah, look how big, handsome Bert is. Mike, new to the HCG crew. I don't know if it's going to hurt you to stand up with that leg, but do it for everybody. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to invite everyone who spoke today to please gather behind this big pile of dirt, and we're going to have to share some shovels. But let's turn some dirt. All right, guys, on